good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. How are you doing this beautiful evening? This is the over the hump day before we get into the weekend. I hope that you all had a good week so far. Your brother Tony have had a blessed week to this point, and I know if God give me more time, I'm going to have a continuous overflow or rejoicing in his name. I'm glad, my brother and sister, to talk to you from the time, well, from the days of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. As you know, I take a break on Friday and Saturday. So at tonight's dinner table, at tonight's dinner table, we have a hot meal tonight. We got something hot on the menu that I'm going to serve you up, my brother and sister. You're going to enjoy this particular broadcast, okay? If this is your first time being at the dinner table with your brother Tony, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer. Hold on. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationships in regards to a man and a woman that is serious minded. That man and woman should move to the commitment phase of the relationship. When I say the commitment phase of the relationship, that man and woman know clearly that they could see one another as having a future together, which leads to the final hurdle. The final hurdle is being in a covenant relationship. Now, the man and the woman needs to have God in the middle of their relationship. As you notice, when we look into the book of Genesis, God had a unique relationship with the man Adam. Secondly, he had a unique relationship with the woman Eve. Thirdly, God presented the woman back to the man. Fourth, the man said in the presence of God, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I should call a woman because she came from man. That's the type of relationship I'm talking about at tonight's dinner table. Now, for those of you that don't believe in the biblical account of how God created the man, then he created the woman, and he brought the woman to the man, you have what is called a free will. You could do whatever you choose to do. But if you're sitting at the dinner table tonight, I'm serving up the relationship between that of a man and a woman. And I encourage you to still take part of the dinner because it will be good for you. Those of you that are here, those of you that have been coming to dinner at night with me, you have been enjoying the meals that I've been serving you. And I hope that tonight's dinner, you're going to be satisfied. So I hope that you came with a heart to receive this soul food because your brother Tony, you know I'm going to serve it up. It's going to be hot. With that said, my brother and sister, this topic came up. I have spoken on it before, but I was compelled to talk to you about this particular topic again. And it's very, very important. When it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, one of the main things about a man and woman getting a relationship, one of the major issues is whether or not the man or the woman is going to cheat on me. That's one of the main things when it comes to a relationship. This is one of the main things that threaten a relationship, being in a relationship with someone that would cheat on you. Now, when someone cheat on you in the relationship, my brother and sister, it can erupt and it can destroy the relationship. Okay, so let's not pretend that it doesn't exist. So let me tell you this, my brother and sister. When you embark on getting into a relationship, brother, with a woman, and sister, when you embark on getting into a relationship with a man, there is a possibility that that man or that woman may step outside of the relationships, okay? So, but what I'm telling you about, don't be afraid to get into a relationship, okay? Don't be afraid. But my brother and sister, I don't want you getting into a relationship in la la land of believing that it can't happen to you. The only thing you could say, my brother, the only thing you could say, my sister, that I hope my mate will not violate our relationship. Okay. So don't even go around, my brother, saying that you believe that your woman won't cheat on you. Sister, don't ever go around saying that your man will not cheat on you. You don't know the thoughts of your mate's heart. The only thing you can hope for that it doesn't happen to you. And another thing, my brother and sister, you should be in the mindset that you shouldn't do it against your partner. Okay. So let's be realistic. Cheating does happen in a lot of relationships. Okay. But we're going to get to the root part of this thing called being a cheater. Okay. Now, the word cheater, my brother, and the word cheater, my sister, is clearly defined as to break a promise made to someone, such as a wife or a husband, by having sex with someone else. Okay. Again, a cheater, when it comes to a relationship, it is clearly defined in the dictionary as to break a promise made to someone, like a wife or a husband, by having sex or physical relationship with someone else. Now, when it's come to cheating, my brother, sister, cheating can happen different ways. You see, the dictionary, it goes towards the point of having physical intimacy with someone else. But there are different forms of cheating, okay? But when it comes to the physical aspect of a relationship, when a man or woman cheat, there are steps that happen, okay? A man or woman just don't point blank cheat, okay? You got to understand that. How you doing, Sister Monica Kim? Welcome to tonight's dinner table. Now, keep in mind, the first question, my brothers, and the first question, my sister, you have to ask yourself what type of relationship you are in before you say a man or a woman cheated on you. Or to say it differently, what is your relationship status with that man, sister, or that woman, brother? Before you can say a man or woman cheat on you, what is the status of the relationship? It comes down to one or two things, my brother and sister, when it comes to the status of a relationship. You are either married or you are unmarried to that man or that woman. Okay? It's not no in between. You are either married or you are unmarried before you can declare or claim that your partner cheated against you. How you doing, my little sister Renee? So you got to remember the topic at tonight's dinner table, my brother and sister. It is, can God change a cheater? We're not talking about can the world change a cheater, but we'll talk about can God change a cheater. By the way, my brother and sister, this is something new that I'm going to do tonight. If you want to call in and express your thoughts on this topic, I'm going to give you a number to call in. And when you call in, don't hold on to the phone for a long period of time, because some more people may choose to call in. But I'm going to give you the number. If you decide to call in to give your thoughts on this particular topic, the number is 470-632-7264. Again, when you call me, only talk about can God change a cheater. We're going to stick on the topic. Again, if you want to call in, the call-in number is 470-632-7264. Now we're about to get back into the topic. Remember, on the menu, the question is, can God change a cheater? Not can the world change a cheater. A world cannot change a cheater, but can God? That's the question. Now, There are some people that strongly believe this statement. And what is the statement? Once a cheater, always a cheater. And I know you have heard this terminology, my brother and sister, when it applies to a man or woman. If a man or woman had a past where they were cheating, the tag on that man or the tag on that woman is once a cheater, always a cheater. But that statement in itself, my brother and sister, is not entirely true, because God can change the heart of a man or woman that has been a cheater in the past. He really can. But let me call it what it really is. It's called committing adultery. In order to classify as an adulterer or an adulteress, how you doing, mother? Welcome to the dinner table. Again, in order to classify as an adulterer, one has to be married before God in the eyes of the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, what is adultery? When we look in the dictionary, adultery is defined as voluntary sexual intercourse between a married person and a person who is not his or her spouse. Now, let me be clear, my brother, and let me be clear, my sister. If you aren't married, I'm going to say this 2 more times. If you aren't married, you are in a relationship with a man or woman that you're having physical intimacy with, or you may call it the little cute term, making love. So if you're not married, you may say, I make love to my man or my woman. But from God's perspective, if you're not married and you are in a relationship with someone, remember we'll talk about cheating. If you're in a relationship with somebody, from God's perspective, God called it fornication. Now, what is fornication? Fornication, my brother, and fornication, my sister, is clearly defined as sexual intercourse or physical intimacy with a person who is not his or her spouse. Okay, so you are either married, my brother and sister, or you're not. You got to be clear. You're either married or not. Now, so before God, my brother and sister, when it comes to being physically intimate with someone, your status has to be you are either married or you are not married. Now, the topic, can God change a cheater? Can God change a cheater? Now, before we answer that question, we got to go and see what the Bible say about this. As it is written in Hebrews 13:4. Again, Hebrews 13:4. It said, let marriage be in honor among all, and let the bed be undefiled, for fornicators and adulterers will be judged by God. If you have a comment on this topic, my brother and sister, you have an opportunity to express yourself before your other brothers and sisters. If you're a guest, you can either call in. I'm going to give you the number if you choose to call in. The number is 470-632-7264. Again, the number is 470-632-7264. So you can share your thought on this particular topic. Now, my brother and sister, before a man or a woman cheat or claim to be a cheater, what type of relationship are you in? That's what we got to see. What type of relationship are you in? Are you married or are you not married? Now, my brother and sister, from God's point of view, it is more important than the world's point of view on this particular topic that we're discussing at tonight's dinner table. So if a man and a woman claim to be in a relationship, God's viewpoint is for them to be engaged, moving towards being married or married. The world has a totally different viewpoint on whether a man or woman in a relationship. So you either, excuse me, so you either gonna approaching a relationship from God's point of view or the world's point of view? God's point of view is he would like for a man and a woman to be serious about one another. God would like for a man and woman to commit to one another. God's point of view, he would like for that man and woman to be in a covenant relationship. Whereas that man enter into a covenant before God to be faithful to one another. Now, does that mean that the man or woman will not fall in the relationship? There's a strong possibility, my brothers and sisters, that a man or woman may fall in a relationship. Okay. Now, let me tell you this. My question to those of you that aren't married, if you aren't married, my brother and sister, why do you get bent all out of shape when you find out that the man or woman that you are in a relationship with, if you find out that man or woman is spending time with another man or another woman? If you're not married, my brothers, if you're not married, my sister, to a man or a woman, from God's point of view, you need to be engaged, moving towards being married or married. Okay, that's from God's point of view. So what's important, God's point of view or the world point of view? You either married or you're not married. So God looked at a man or a woman's relationship. He said, God's position here, you got to be engaged, moving towards being married or you're married. So when a man and woman get engaged, that man and woman has the intent to get married. You understand? So once a man and a woman agree to being engaged, that man and that woman is taking his or herself off the market. You understand? When a man and woman get engaged, they're taking themselves off the market. What do I mean off the market? That man and woman has the intent to be one when they're engaged. So my brother and sister, if you're not engaged to that man or that man and woman is a free agent, because you're not truly committed to no one unless you're engaged to them, moving towards getting married. From God's point of view, not from Tony's point of view. So the world's point of view is, if we say that we got a relationship together, therefore we are in a relationship. From the world standpoint, if that's the way you want to go with it, that's from the world standpoint. But God doesn't validate a relationship unless that man and woman does it the way they're going to please God. So are you pleasing God or are you pleasing yourself? There's no middle ground between it. Now, my question to those of you that are being married, again, well, if you're not married, why would you get upset at a man, sister? Why would you get upset at a woman, brother, if you are not even in the position to be engaged to the man or woman? You see, the engagement part, my brother, or the engagement part, my sister, and I have used this particular illustration before. The engagement, if it's an engagement ring, that represents good faith intention. Now, those of you that have purchased a home, or better yet, those of you that are about to purchase a home, there's a thing that's called a good faith down payment. Now, what is a good faith down payment? A good faith down payment shows that that person that's going to sell the house to you, that your intentions are real. You see, you can go talk to a realtor about looking at a house. Okay, a realtor will want you to look at the house, but the realtor wants you to commit to the house. And what are they looking for? They're looking for a thing that's called, like I said, a good faith payment. So there's X amount of dollars that realtor wants you to put down, or that seller wants you to put down on that house. So if you putting X amount of money down on that house, they're telling the seller that you are serious about making a commitment to move into that house. It's the intent. The good faith payment is an intent that you are committing to moving into the house. Likewise, brothers, likewise, sister. When a man give a woman an engagement ring and the woman accept the engagement ring, it's supposed to be an intent to move towards the thing called the covenant part of the relationship. Now, if a man doesn't give a woman an engagement ring and the woman doesn't accept the engagement ring, you, brother, and you, sister, you're free agents. That's what you are, a free agent. Now, a free agent is not committed to no one. So we need to get this clear when it comes to being a cheater. Now, the question is, my brother, and the question is, my sister, too. Are you faithful? If you're faithful, my brother, and if you're faithful, my sister, that means that you have loyalty and you steadfast in a relationship. Now, where does cheating start from? Where does cheating start from? Cheating doesn't start when a man and a woman get physically entangled in the bedroom. It doesn't start that. We're going to go to what Jesus classified as cheating, okay? What we call cheating. You see, back in when Jesus was on the earth and before Jesus was on the earth, and when you look at the Bible now, it doesn't call it cheating. It calls it, if you're married to a man or woman and you step out the relationship, it's called adultery. If you're not married, it's called fornication. Okay, let's be clear. We're talking from a biblical standpoint. Now, Jesus is talking about a married man and a married woman, okay? And he also allured to a man, how a man look at a woman, okay? Now, in Matthew 5:28, again, Matthew 5:28, Jesus said, I tell you this, anyone or a man that look upon a woman in a lustful way has already committed adultery with her in his heart. You understand? So before we get to the physical aspect of the relationship, before a man or woman can be classified as a cheater, cheating starts in the heart. Cheating does not start with the physical body. Everything, my brother and sister, it starts on the inside. It starts with your soul. Now, your soul is composed of your mind, your will, and your emotions. You understand? That's what it's composed of. So Jesus goes to the inside how it starts. And again, Jesus said, anyone, meaning a man, or it could be a woman. But in this case, Jesus said, any man that looks at a woman in a lustful way has already committed adultery with her in their heart. So it's not the physical part that takes place first. It's what's going on in the thoughts of the man or the woman. So that man and woman, according to God's position, that man and the woman, he's talking about a man and a woman that basically is, since it's adultery, it's a man and a woman that has to be married. So a man and woman does not have to physically leave their home in order to commit the thing called adultery or being a cheater. It starts in the thought process. And like I have said this several times before, my brother and sister, and this is an illustration. You cannot stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop a bird from building a nest on your head. What do I mean by that? The bird flying over your head represents a fleeing thought. A bird that builds a nest on your head represents a thought that is is constantly forming in your head and you concentrating on it, okay? So you cannot control the thought come to your mind, but you can control pushing that thought away. But if you are bent on producing, writing, and performing the act that's in your mind, that is adultery. It comes from the inside before it plays on the outside. So from God's position, in order to be a cheater or an adulterer, you have to be in a committed relationship. And what's that committed relationship again? When you get engaged again, brother, when you get engaged, sister, to marry, the engagement again is the good faith part, just like you put good faith money down on a house with the intent to buy the house or purchase the house. When you give that engagement ring, or when you come to the part of commitment, according to the United States, we're talking from the United States position or the West position. Once you get into an engagement, you take yourself off the market. So, brother, once you commit to a woman, excuse me, sister, once you commit to a man, that phase of the relationship should be deemed as the engagement. But God wants you to move along to the marriage part. Now, let me tell you this, my brother and sister. Listen to me. Okay, don't get mad or anything. If you are single, from the world point of view, and maybe from your world point of view, even some of my brothers and sisters in Christ, if you're not committed to the person, that person is a free agent. You got to understand that that person is a free agent. A free agent is not bound to you. I see a lot of men and women that say that they are in a relationship. They say that they are boyfriends, girlfriends. They even call themselves this little clique title boo. Or this my good friend. Some men and women that live up under the same roof. The woman can live with the man, or the man can live with the woman. But once they up under that roof, a man and woman, they will claim that they're in a relationship. They are in a relationship, but they're not in God's type of relationship. They're in a relationship that's not deemed by God to be valid. But you see, the world will accept that type of relationship. And I'm not trying to be holier than thou, my brothers and sisters. I'm not. I'm just trying to explain to you when a man and a woman talking about cheating in a relationship. So, brother and sister, in order to cheat in a relationship, the question is, have you gotten engaged to that person? Are you engaged? Have you taken yourself off the market? Or you could bypass the engagement phase of the relationship and go ahead and get married. So if you're not engaged, taking yourself off the market with the intent to get married, or if you're not married, how can you say that that man or woman cheated on you? The reason why a lot of men and women get hurt in a relationship because you could be in a point where you deceive yourself. And what do I mean by you deceive yourself? You say you're serious in a relationship, but you're not doing what you're supposed to do to be real about the relationship. When you're real about a relationship, that means you're serious about the relationship. You have thought about the relationship. You see that man or woman as a lifetime partner in the relationship. When you see yourself and that person as a lifetime partner, you will be compelled to get committed to the person. And when you be compelled to commit to the person, what does that mean? That mean, my brother, and that mean, my sister, that you see yourself with that person for the rest of your life. And when you see yourself with that person for the rest of your life, you're supposed to go ahead and dive in. God wants you to dive completely into the relationship. What do I mean by that? Because on a spiritual standpoint, my brother and sister, when you get into a relationship with God, God will want you to go all the way. God does not want no half relationship with you. You understand? He doesn't want no half relationship. God wants you to commit 100% in. If you're not willing, my brother, if you're not willing, my sister, to commit all the way into the relationship, you really do not have no relationship. Now, where did the first account of cheating occurred when you look at it, where it's documented? Believe it or not, my brother and sister, the first act of, if you want to call it cheating or unfaithfulness in a relationship, it happened way back in the book of Genesis between Adam, Eve, and God. You got to understand this, my brother and sister. Everything happens spiritually first before it comes to the physical realm. You understand? It happens in the spiritual realm first, then the physical realm. You see, when God had a unique relationship with Adam first, Adam was completely faithful to God. Completely faithful. Secondly, when God created Eve, she was completely faithful to God. When God represented Eve to Adam, Adam and Eve were faithful to God first, and then they were faithful to one another second. So when Eve ate this forbidden fruit, then she gave it to Adam. When she gave it to Adam, and Adam ate of the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve, they became unfaithful to God. And when Adam and Eve became unfaithful to God, they was unfaithful to one another. So when it comes to the topic at hand again, my brother and sister, can God change a cheater? Yes, God can. Brother and sister, if you are engaged, moving towards getting married, let's say you're married, and I told you all at the beginning of this, at the dinner table, when we came and sat down at the dinner table, I told you all this. One of the worst things that could happen to a relationship is being unfaithful to one spouse, because you have committed to that spouse for a lifetime. That's what, and I'm telling you, my brother and sister, don't be afraid to get into a relationship. And I'm telling you this, my brother and sister, you have to look at your mate as, my mate is a human. Now, when I say my mate is a human, I'm not making up no alibis or no excuse for no man or no woman. But you got to look at it, and you got to look at it in real time. When you look at your mate, it's a possibility that your mate may step out on you. You don't want that, do you? There's a possibility that you may step out on your mate, but you don't want to see yourself doing that. But the question is, my brother, and the question, my sister, is, have you been 100% faithful to God? If you have not been 100% faithful to God, how can you expect for your mate to be 100% to you? And how can you be 100% faithful to your mate without being 100% faithful to God? So faithfulness, my brother, when it comes to a relationship, faithfulness, my sister, it goes back to, you have to be faithful to God first, then you be faithful to your mate. Now, if one of you has stepped outside the marriage and you did something that you were not supposed to do, you have violated the relationship with God first before you violate the relationship with your mate. Your mate comes second after God. So you was unfaithful to God first, then you became unfaithful to your mate. You did not start out being unfaithful to your mate, then it'll affect God. It'll affect God first, then it'll affect your mate secondary. So the statement is, once a cheater, always a cheater. That's not true. A man and a woman, they have had a past of doing stuff like that. That man and woman can change. But that man and woman could change when the person that they're in a relationship with, they're serious about that relationship. They see that relationship as being precious in their eyes, and they don't want to lose that relationship. So, brother and sister, in order to be 100% faithful, we're close to 100% faithful to your spouse, you have to be faithful to God. You cannot do without God. Because you see, when it comes to being unfaithful, my brother and sister, it starts in the heart first before it comes to the physical part. Because you could look at someone, brother, you could look at someone, sister, and you can have a lustful feeling after that person. And according to Jesus, when a man look upon a woman and lust after her, he has already committed adultery with that woman. Or the same thing, if a woman think about or have lustful feeling towards another man that she's not engaged or married to, that woman, she having a desire for that man, is wrong. And then that is adultery. So it still come down to, my brother and sister, from two different perspectives. The thing is, what is your status? You got to ask yourself this, my brother and sister, what is the status of you and that person? Now, what do I mean? What is the status? Are you, brother, single or married? Sister, what is your status? Are you single or married? It's one of the two. You either single or you're married. If you are not married, how can you be in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship? Answer that. Now, from the world standpoint, you can be. But whose viewpoint is valid? Is it the world or is it God's viewpoint that's valid? Before I got married, my brothers, and before I got married, my sister, a person that I could have been in a relationship with for years, I used to say stuff like, yeah, I'm in a serious relationship with her. And the woman that I could have been in a relationship with, if it went on for a time, because if I verbally told a woman that, yeah, I'm serious about you and we're in a committed relationship, if I did not tell that woman, I'm serious about you, if I did not tell that woman that I'm committed to you, it was not no relationship to me. If a woman did not tell me she's serious about me, or if she's committed to me, I could not hold her. I could not say nothing to her. I seen the relationship for how it was. How you doing, sister Tiara? Welcome to tonight's dinner table. For those of you that are in here, again, if you would like to make a comment on the topic, can God change a cheater? If you have had experience or have walked down that valley, if you have cheated or if you have been cheated on and you want to share your thoughts or opinion on this topic, you can call this number that I'm about to tell you. And you could talk towards me if you choose to. And you can share your thoughts with the sisters and brothers and guests that are on the show. I'm gonna say the number 3 times. The number is 470-632-7264. Again, the number is 470-632-7264. A final time, the number, if you want to call in and chime in on this topic so we can get your thoughts, 470-632-7264. If there's anything that you want to share on this topic, because when I talk to you, my brother and sister, I talk to you from a realistic standpoint. I could come talking to you, brother and sister. I could bring a lot of sugar. I could bring a bag of tea, and I could put the bag of tea in a glass of water and let the tea foam in the water, and I could put some sugar in the water, if that's how you want me to talk to you. If you want me to talk to you sweet and unrealistic, I could do that. If you want me to tickle your ears, I can do that. But I don't want to tickle your ears, brothers and sisters. I'm here. How you doing, Sister Teresa? I'm here to put the salt on the steak. And I have told you, my brother and sister, what salt does. It preserves, it gives flavor, and it irritates. Now, when a man or a woman is coming from God's point of view, it's salty. Because you see, God does not come to us with sweet and low. God comes with salt, because he want to preserve, he want to give flavor, and some of God's viewpoints will irritate people. As a matter of fact, God's point of view, it irritates the world. You see, the world classify being a cheater as long as this man and I, if it's us, it's all, if we decide that we're in a relationship, we are in a relationship. That's what a lot of people say. Long as we decide we're in a relationship, we're in a relationship. Okay, from the world standpoint, you are. But from God's viewpoint, you're not. And it comes down to what's more important. So if you're a single brother, if you're a single sister, and if you're not committed, even though you say you're serious, if you're not committed to the relationship, that second part, the commitment part, the good faith part. And as I have said before, like you purchase a home, you got to put some good faith money on that home so that seller could see that you're serious about buying the home. You could do all the talking you want. You could say, yeah, I like the house. I like the size of it. I like the room. I like the neighborhood. But that buyer is not going to take you serious until you put some cheddar on the table. When you put that money in that seller's hand, that seller's saying, this person is serious about buying this home. That's what the engagement ring represents. You are serious about getting married. Now, some of you saying, Tony, why are you always talking about getting married? Why are you always talking about getting married? Why are you always talking about getting married? Because that's what God would like for his sons and daughters to do. God does not want his sons and daughters to play relationship. When I was younger, and my sister was younger, and we used to go, and my brother then, my mama used to be in the social saving club with her girlfriends. They used to meet on Sundays. They would call themselves the Blue Light something, but that was the name of their club. So the mamas, they would take all the children with them. So while the mamas having their club meeting, the children, we played game. We could play hide and go seek, red light, green light, softball, or whatever we choose to play. But sometimes we played playhouse. And when we played playhouse, we pretend that we was married. That's right. We pretend that we was married. We're little children. We pretend that we was married. So how did we pretend? The boys were the husband and the girls were the wife. We were pretending, but we were children. but we really were not married. We was playing the part. We played that we're married because we observed how our parents did it. But and our parents were married. They was really married, but the children, we were not married. We were just playing the role. So there are some adult men and women that are playing the role of being married. How you doing, Sister Flo? You can play getting married, but you are wasting your time. That's why some of you brothers and sisters, your heart get crushed when that man or woman leave you. You get so crushed because you believe that you was in a serious committed relationship, but you weren't in a covenant relationship. Now, some people will say, Tony, people in a covenant relationship, they get a divorce. That is true. But the thing about people that are in a covenant relationship or that get a divorce, at least they got married. All relationships come to an end eventually in this world. But you see, a man and woman, especially a man and woman that's following after God through Jesus Christ, they're trying to please God. In order for God to bless your relationship, my brothers, and in order for God to represent, well, in order for God to really praise your relationship or be pleased, I put it this way, in order for God to be pleased with your relationship, you got to do it his way. Because if you do not do it his way, you playing house. I know what, like I said, I was a little child playing house. And when I got to be an adult, I played some house again. How you doing, Sister Carly? I hope I pronounced your name right. Callie, Catlettt. Sometimes I be tearing up you all names. I'm sorry. Believe me, I'm sorry. But you know, I'm sorry. But anyway, again, I want one of you. It doesn't matter. I want one of you to call. If you choose to call, I want you to call. So you could share your thoughts on the topic. The number is 470-632-7264. Again, Sister Teresa Thomas, she put the number out there too. 470-632-7264. If you want to share your thoughts on this particular topic. And this is what I want you to answer, my brother and sister. If you are not married and you say you're in a relationship, let us know, what do you mean by a relationship? What is a relationship with you? Do you believe that if you're not married, you're in a relationship? If you're not married, can you really say that you're in a relationship? If you're not married, can you say that a man or woman cheated on you? Can you really say it? If you're not married to that person, did that man or woman actually cheat on you? Now, getting to you married people, cheating. A lot of married people have not physically stepped outside the home. Let me be clear. There are a lot of married people that have not physically stepped outside the home to be with a man or a woman. However, that does not mean that man or woman did not commit adultery with a man or a woman. See, a lot of people think there are worldly people, and then and it's sad to say there are people that follow after God through his son Jesus that really believe that cheating starts when you get into bed with someone. It doesn't start when you get into bed with someone. Cheating starts in the heart. There are different forms of cheating. Brother and sister, if you're married, if you having a conversation with someone of the opposite sex, and you have to go in another room, brothers and sisters, if you are communicating with someone with a text, and you don't want, and you put your phone like this so your mate cannot see who you texting. Brother and sister, if you are married and you don't want your mate to know about this other person of the opposite sex, if you don't want your mate to know about that, why are you hiding from your mate? If you're hiding that type of relationship from your mate, you are cheating. Because you see, a relationship, my brother and sister, is supposed to be with transparency. So if you, my brother and sister, another thing, if you are doing something with someone of the opposite sex and you don't want your mate to know about it, you are cheating. You think you have to actually have physical intimacy with someone to cheat? If you hide it from your mate, you're cheating. And you see, the thing about a lot of married people, you more concerned with your mate than God. You don't want your mate to see you, but God sees you. You understand? God see you. But a lot of people, married people, you think just because you don't go to bed with someone, you're not cheating. Yes, you are. And the sister said, my ex, Tierra said, my ex-husband would do that. So this sister, she's saying that her ex-husband would do that. So what she's saying is that he used to do some things that he tried to hide from her. You know what, my brother? You know what, my sister? It's a very good thing. And you married people, I'm talking directly to you all now. You married people. It is a good thing that God does not allow us to look in our mate's mind. It's a good thing God doesn't do that. Because if God allow a man to see clearly into his wife's mind, I'm not saying all men, I'm not saying all women, but if a man was able to read his wife's mind completely, if a woman was able to read her husband's mind completely, there would not hardly be, there would be fewer marriages. It would be fewer marriages because, let me tell you this, married people, sometimes, sister, your husband might think about another woman in an inappropriate way, even though he doesn't physically do nothing with this woman. Brothers, your wife, she could not physically do nothing with another man, but she still have done something. Sister Tierra said he didn't have a code on his phone at first, and then he put one on and thought that I didn't realize that he was doing it. And that's another thing. If a person, like this sister said, if this person used to did not have a special code to get in his or her phone, if this person have a computer and his or her mate was able to get on the computer, but if they start locking and getting codes on it, that man and woman is hiding something. The biggest secrets, my brother, the biggest secrets, my sister, how you doing, Sister Shara or Ismail? Welcome to the night them tape. The biggest secrets, my brother and sister, is on that cell phone. A lot of secrets are in people's cell phones. You see, if a man and woman is married, That man and woman should have the ability to just pick up the phone if they want to. That man and woman should not have to get that phone when they get up and go to the bathroom and take the phone to the bathroom. Some men and women, they could forget their cell phone and be going to work or going somewhere. And the next thing you know, that man or woman realize they left their cell phones at home and they turn around and get home real quick. And when they bust in the door, they sweating. They sweating because they hope that their mate did not get to their cell phone. How you doing, GB? GB said, I have been through this. Forgive 110%. Amen. Anytime you married people, anytime you have to hide something from your mate, when you ain't been hiding something from your mate, that tell you something about yourself. And let me tell you a lot of things, you married people. A lot of married people, when married people are stepping out on their mates, a lot of them start guilt tripping, and then they start believing that their mates are out there. That's what a lot of them do. They think that their mates are out there. They may not even be out there, but they start guilt tripping. Then they want to gaslight it and say that their mates doing something. And let me tell you about some married people. Some married people will commit adultery against their mate. But if they catch their mate committing adultery, they want to get a divorce. I'm going to give you all a situation. Some of you probably have heard this before, but I'm going to give you a situation. If anyone want to call, you can call in. If you want to let us know what's going on, what have happened, your experience, because if you call in and share your experience, maybe someone else have had this experience. If this the night to call in, we live. The number is 470-632-7264. Again, the telephone number, if you want to share your experience, is 470-632-7264. I'm going to give you all a situation. Many, many years ago, and some of you probably have heard this before, many, many years ago, now this particular lady, she is deceased, that I'm about to talk about, and you still ain't gonna find out her name. Her husband is deceased. You ain't about to find out his name, okay? But I'm gonna tell you what happened. This man and woman, they were married for many, many years. This man, he was classified as a workaholic. Okay, he was classified. What is a workaholic? Someone that work. Someone that live to work but doesn't work to live. That's a workaholic. They live to work but they don't work to live. Now, how did this man get himself in this situation? He got himself in this situation by buying a home. When he was buying a home, he had to work extra shifts and get another job in order to please his wife. So when he got this home to please his wife, it was all good once upon a time. But eventually, she got to the point that she wasn't happy. But he was trying to please her. So that meant that they cut into time of him and her spending time together. So she started getting bored and agitated. I mean, she used to get agitated, right? So what happened? She let him know that she wasn't happy. And he said, why you said you're not happy? You know I'm doing this for us. The man was a workaholic. So he said, I'm doing this for us. So she was still saying she was unhappy. And she said that when her and her husband was physically intimate, she said that he didn't even reach the 2-minute mark. And you all know what I'm talking about, right? They didn't reach the 2-minute mark. So she said he get up there, do his Mr. business, and then he turn over and go to sleep. And she said he left her hanging. So she got frustrated. But she didn't take into account this man is a workaholic. How you doing, Sister Parker? Welcome to the dinner table. So this man is a workaholic. So when him and his wife did this grown folk stuff, you all know what I'm talking about, he was tired. That's why he probably could not go over the 2-minute mark. You know what I mean? Cause you know how some of y'all sisters, y'all look at the clock to see how long it's going, right? But anyway, she got tired of it. So when she got tired of it, what did she do? She said that he's a good husband. She said that he's a good provider. But it was just, he just wasn't doing a certain thing for her. So what did she do? That's right. The rose wasn't out during that time. Okay, you all know what I'm talking about when I said the rose, it wasn't out during that time. The little vibrators and stuff, that might have been out, but she didn't want none of that. She wanted the real deal, Holyfield. That's right, Sister Parker, not looking at the clock. So anyway, she decided that she's going to stay in the house. But when she stayed in the house, she was going to do her thing on the outside. So she had this outside thing going on. Okay. GB said, last week, my kids got physically, emotional, and spiritual healing, and all my kids baptized in the Holy Spirit. Amen, GB. But this woman, she started doing some little things outside the home, right? When she was doing her little thing outside the home. So it got to the point where she really didn't want to do nothing with her husband, right? This man that working all these jobs trying to take care of her, right? Because she got soul tied to a man on the outside. You understand? She got soul tied to a man on the outside. This man was not paying the bills. This man wasn't doing nothing but accommodating her in the physical realm, okay? So what happened? She was not doing her wifely duties as she's supposed to with her husband. So one day, she and this other guy, they was at a hotel room. Okay, they was at a hotel room. When she and this guy came out the hotel room, her husband and this other woman pulled up to go to the same hotel. Now, keep in mind, this man, I'm not justifying nothing. I'm just telling you the story, okay? Keep in mind, this man working 2 jobs. He couldn't reach the 2-minute mark with his wife because he was too tired, because he was trying to please her in his house, the one that she said she wasn't happy. They was okay when they were living on budget, but they went over budget. He was trying to please her. That's what I'm telling some of you guys right now. If you can't afford a house on the north side of town, live within your budget. Don't try to be like the Joneses, because what a lot of you brothers and sisters don't know, the Joneses are living paycheck to paycheck. They're living in that big house, just like the Jefferson. They have moved on up, but even though they moved on up, they were not actually like the Jefferson. They were not Louise and George. Louise and George were living paycheck to paycheck. But a lot of the people, the Joneses, they live in paycheck to paycheck. They look good on the outside. They dressing good. They got those fancy cars and all that kind of stuff, but they living paycheck to paycheck. You know, trying to decide who to pay Peter and Paul. But that's what a lot of you brothers doing. You going over your budget, which means that you're taking time away from your wife, trying to make her happy. You're taking time away from Lil Toby and Lil Tiffany. You know, when you used to go to the football game, the football practice with Lil Toby, and you used to go to the recital to see Lil Taffy play the piano and stuff. But when you get all the extra jobs trying to go over budget to please your wife, and you know you're going over budget. Some of you brothers, you neglected to make a decision. That's why a lot of you brothers, that's why you caused a lot of stuff to happen to yourself. Because you go over budget, you take your time. That means you take time away from God, you take time away from your wife, you take time away from your children, and now they being neglected. God is being neglected, your wife is being neglected because you're trying to please her, and your children being neglected. You can't be there when they having their recitals and little football games and all that kind of stuff. And what do you get for it? What do you get for trying to do that? A lot of you brothers, that's why your wives slipping out on you. They say that men cheat the most. That's a lie. Men and women cheat a lot. We talk about the married people now. Married men and married women. You see, when they say married, they always say men cheat the most. That's not true. They say all of them cheat. In order for a man to cheat, he have to have a woman to participate. In order for a woman to cheat, she got to have a man to participate. Those just statistics. That's not real life. But back to the story. She was doing her thing on the outside, and she got so tied to this man on the outside. She stopped giving her affection to her husband. He got fed up with her, even though he was working all those shifts. He found time to go to the hotel with the other lady. So the lady, she seen her husband going into the hotel with this lady. The same hotel she just leaving out with this man. She got really teed off. Why would she get teed off? She just came out of the hotel. Why is she getting angry? She got angry. Her husband going to do the same thing she just got finished doing. So what did this woman do? She went home and called the man's sister. She didn't give the man's sister all the facts. She just said, I heard that your brother is out at this particular hotel with another woman. So her sister-in-law loved her so much, she took sides. So she went and got the lady, and they went to the hotel room. They got out the car, and the man's sister knocked on the hotel door. He opened the door, wondering why his sister is at the door. His wife was standing on the side. Then she gonna bomb rush the room and try to jump on the lady and her husband. Hypocrite. You know what the lady said? She said that she didn't get caught, but she want to really get down on her husband. Her and her husband were doing the same thing, but she was playing the hypocrite. That's how a whole bunch of married people do it. A whole bunch of married people, one could be out there doing something with somebody else, right? Then when they find out they mate doing something, they want to get a divorce and everything. Hypocrite. Two wrong does not make a right. But that's how a lot of marriages go. But God can change it. God could change those type of relationships. GB said, I have lived through most of what he's saying in the video, and it's true. I'm telling you, thank you, GB. I'm telling you, brothers. I'm telling you, sisters. God can change the situation. That's why I'm telling you now. Those of you that are single, listen to what your brother Tony's saying. Those of you that are single, remember this. When you decide to move from the three parts of the relationship, you have to be serious-minded. You have to commit to the relationship. When you commit to the relationship, my brother and sister, you are taking yourself off the market. meaning the engagement period. Brother, we'll talk about the Western world and how we do it in the West. Brother, you need to claim her. Sister, you need to claim him. When you move to the commitment part of the relationship, you don't say, I'm serious about you and we together. Nope. You got to put that down payment, just like if you're going to buy a house, you got to put that good faith payment showing that you got an intent to buy the home. So, brother, you need to give her that engagement ring, showing her that you got intent to marry her. When you get engaged, you take yourself off the market. GB said, question, if a man look upon a woman and think of her look nice physically and could have sex with her, that is what, let me tell you what Jesus said about that, GB. This is what Jesus said about it. In Matthew 5:28, Matthew 5:28, Matthew 5:28, Jesus said, but I tell you that any man who looks at a woman lustfully have already committed adultery with her in his heart. And that's the same thing. If a woman look at a man, thank you, Sister Cheryl. If a woman look at a man and think lustfully if a woman look at a man and think have lustful feelings, she doing the same thing. But you see, the key thing is what type of relationship you have. In order to commit adultery, you have to be married. You understand? You got to be married. Now, what is adultery? Let us go to the dictionary and see what adultery is. Adultery is, let me find the definition because I want to give it to you right. Okay. In order to be classified as an adulterer, one has to be married before the eyes of the Lord. Now, what is adultery? Adultery, according to the dictionary, is voluntary sexual intercourse with a married person and a person who is not his or her spouse. That's adultery. If you are not married, brother, if you are not married, sister, you're not committing adultery against a man or a woman. It's fornication. It's not making love. It's fornication from God's point of view. Now, the world point of view is you make love. God's point of view, if you're not married, is fornication. And this is what God said about adultery and fornication. When we look in Hebrews 13:4, God said, let marriage be honorable among all, and let the bed be undefiled. For fornicators and adulterers, God will judge. That's what God said. It's not Tony just reading you what the Bible say. Now, before I got married, I was a fornicator. Sister Parker said someone could have gotten seriously hurt, got to that hotel, jumped on. That's right, somebody could have got serious hurt. But the lady who caught her husband out there, she had just came out of the room, Sister Parker, and she wanted to jump on the man, her husband, and the woman. And she had just came out there. Her position was he got caught, she wasn't. That's how a lot of married people do it. Long as they don't get caught, they want to crucify their husband and wife because they got busted. But they know in their heart they have done it too, physically. But it always started in the heart first, my brother. It always started in the heart first, my sister. And I need to elaborate on this again. If you're single and you dealing with someone of the opposite sex, in God's eye, not Tony's eye, but in God's eye, God recognizes only engagement and marriage. God does not recognize boyfriend, girlfriends. God does not recognize living together. He doesn't recognize that from a spiritual good standpoint, a holy standpoint. Now, if you are engaged, my brother and sister, God still do not want you to do the physical thing if you're engaged. He don't want you to do it. Can you believe that? So some of you brothers and sisters say, well, we're engaged, so it should be all right if we be physical with one another. Yeah, from the world standpoint, but from God's viewpoint, God don't want you to be physical until you get married. And some of you say, Tony, how can you say that? You used to be a fornicator. You used to do stuff, Tony. Yes, I did. But I'm telling you, my brother and sister, I'm trying to help you all. You see, what you all don't know is some of the stuff that I did, I had to pay for it. That I didn't tell you all. Do you think God allowed me to do all that stuff and nothing didn't happen? Yes, some stuff happened to me. I guess you all want to know now, don't you? You're not going to know. But some things happened to me for disobeying God. You know what I found out? That I was not no exception to the rule. If I was doing what God didn't want me to do, what I was doing was sowing to the flesh. The Bible says if you sow to the flesh, you're going to get what? Death. If you sow to the spirit, you're going to get life. So if I sowed the wrong way against God, I had to pay for it. I reap what I sowed. I took responsibility for what I did. I could not blame the woman or women. I couldn't blame them. I had to take accountability. Brother and sister, when you do wrong, you have to take accountability. You can't, you need to stop blaming other people for what you do. You, brother, and you, sister, I'm talking to you single people now. You choose to do what you're doing. Nobody did not put no gun to you or no knife to you and say, let's do like Marvin Gaye said, let's get it on. Nobody didn't do that. You willfully done it. And you know what? I understand what it is to be willful. Because I willfully sinned against God. And guess what? I knew better. Like a lot of you brothers and sisters, you know better. But you did it anyway. I'm no different than you all. I'm no different. So some of you say, okay, if you're not so different, why are you doing all this holy talk? I'm not doing no holy talk. What I'm doing is I'm telling you from God's point of view. I'm telling you that I did wrong. I'm telling you that I had to take accountability. I'm telling you that I had to reap what I sowed. I don't want you brothers, single brothers. I don't want you single sisters to have to pay. I found out that I was not no exception. You're going to find out if you don't know now that you're not no exception. Keep playing with God. God is not moral. The Bible said God is not moral. It said whatever you sow, you reap. That's what the Bible said. It said God is not moral. What that mean? You can't play with him. God is not moral. For whatever you sow, you reap. And I'm telling you, it's coming. If you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple. If you plant a peach seed, you're going to get a peach tree. Whatever seed you plant, you're going to reap whatever you plant. Whether it's spiritual or the flesh, you're going to get it. I'm just trying to help you all. Can God change a cheater? Can God change a cheater? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Now, how can God change a cheater? In order for God to change a cheater, what type of relationship you're in? Let's identify this before we get out of here. What type of relationship are you in? Question is, are you married or are you unmarried? Let's get that established first from God's point of view. Are you married or are you not married? God got a point of view on it. The world got a point of view. Let's just go with God's point of view. in order to be a cheater from God's point of view, you got to be married. To be a cheater, you got to be, that means that you were serious with that person, you committed to that person, and then you married that person from God's point of view. So from God's point of view, it's not cheating. It's, let's call it what it is. It's called adultery. Adultery is being with someone that's not your husband or wife. It didn't say adultery is your girlfriend or boyfriend. It didn't say that. It tells you the title. It said husband or wife. And you're not, the cheater is actually called an adulterer. We narrowed this thing down. So if you commit adultery, brother, against your wife, sister, if you commit adultery against your husband, it started in the heart first before you get in the bed. It started in the heart first. You planned it. You thought about it. And you executed it. But when you're thinking about it, before you get to the person, you commit adultery against God first. Before you commit adultery against your mate, it's against God first. Everything you do, my brother and sister, is against God first before it's actually against a human. You understand? Sister Paul said, how do you keep yourself being single when God had made us sexual beings? Okay, that's a good question, Sister Parker. God did give us a desire. So when God gave us desire, Paul, he answered that question, Sister Paul. This is what Paul said when he was writing to the Corinthians. You see, the Corinthians, they had that problem. So Paul heard about it. So Paul, he wrote them about it. So this is what Paul said. Paul said, I wish that you all could do like me. What Paul was saying, single. That's what Paul said. He said, I wish you all could do like me, be single. But Paul said, if you have that strong desire, you need to be married. Because it's better to marry than to burn. Paul was saying go to hell and get burned. Paul would talk about you have that sexual passion for somebody. So if you are single and your body is craving for physical intimacy with a man or woman, that's a tell sign, brother and sister, that you're supposed to be married. Because God wants you to have sex when you married, not outside of marriage. Sex is a beautiful thing, but God wants you to do it in the confinements of being married. I'm going to tell you this, my brothers. I'm going to tell you this, my sister. I'm going to tell you from experience. It's totally different when you do it the right way, God's way. When you single, my brothers, when you single, my sister, the only thing you could do, the only thing the man could do is ejaculate. The only thing a woman could do is climax if she's not faking. Oh, men can fake too, by the way. Men can fake. Some of you sisters, y'all got surprised. Men can fake too. Some of you sisters, how can men fake? I could tell you a lot about how men fake. But the only thing a man could do is ejaculate. The only thing a woman do is climax. And that's it. If you're not doing it God's way, that's it. You can't get no more out of it. You think it's love. It's not love. It's lust. That's all it is. It's lust. Now, if you do it God's way, I'm telling you, my brother and sister, from experience, if you do it God's way, you go into a whole nother realm. If you go do it God's way, I can't really put it in words. It's more than the ejaculation. It's more than the climax. It's a deeper part. I call it the utopia way. You want to experience utopia? Do it God's way. If you don't do it God's way, you don't know what I'm talking about. It goes beyond the physical. It goes deeper between a man and the woman, or the woman and the man when they're doing it God's way. If you don't do it God's way, the only thing you can get out of the physical part. And you think you're in love, but you're not in love. You're in lust. If you was in love, you would do it God's way, because God is love. Sister Parker said, it's hard to find someone with the same morals. I was once married, thought I was doing right, and my marriage failed. Sister Parker, a marriage could fail, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. The thing about it, my brother, the thing about it, my sister, you have to not be unequally yoked. That's why I always stress, my brother and sister, before you get into a relationship with someone of the member of the opposite sex, go to God first and let God handpick that person for you. Go to God. Don't give God no name. Brother, when you ready for a good woman, don't go to God and say, I want to marry Susan. Or sister, you don't go to God and say, I want to marry Wayne. You don't do that. You just go to God. Brother, what you need to do in your prayer to God, you supposed to delight in God first. And when you have that desire, you tell God. You know, my prayer to God was, I would like a woman to follow me as I follow Christ. That was my prayer. I don't know what your prayer is, but my prayer was, I would like a woman to follow me as I follow Christ. And some of you know, it took me 5 years for that to happen, from that prayer. Hopefully it don't take you that long. It may take longer. But for me, after the prayer, it took me 5 years. And some of you sisters, you need to pray, Lord, cause a man to find me. I want a man to find me, and I want to follow him as he followed Christ. Lord, don't bring a man to me that's following you. That's what you sisters should say. Lord, cause the man that you send to me, I want him to be following your son Jesus, so he could be the head and leader of our relationship. Because I want to take a part of the purpose that you gave to him and me. Because we want to glorify your son Jesus. You're welcome, Sister Shakina. I hope I pronounce your name. You're teaching tonight, learn so much. You're welcome, sister. Thank you so much. So I'm telling you, my brother, telling you, my sister, listen carefully to me. I don't want you to hurt. I don't want you to waste time in your relationship, okay? I don't want you to do it. Now, if you want to say something to me or the rest of your brother and sister, I'm going to give you this number one last time, 2 times, okay? I'm going to give you the number. If you got something to say to us, you could do it. Don't be afraid. The number is 470 632 7264. Again, if you want to talk right now, before I leave and clean up the dinner table, and you all get this extra food and take it with you, the number again is 470 632 7264. If it's something that you want to say live, this is your opportunity to let your little light shine. Okay? This is your last opportunity. Brothers and sisters, if you want to do it God's way, you can do it God's way. God can change a person that have cheated. Your relationship doesn't have to come to an end. It's hard when you find out that your mate have cheated on you or committed adultery against you. It's very hard, because you talk about the breaking of trust and everything. But it always go back to this, my brother and sister. You have to forgive. Because guess what? God have forgiven you, brother, so many times. Sister, God have forgiven you so many times. So you cannot hold nothing over a person's head, because God can hold something over your head. I know there's some hard teaching. There's some very hard teaching. Am I endorsing that type of behavior? No, I'm not endorsing it. But you got to understand it, my brother and sister. If you go into a relationship, you need to have your eyes wide open. There's a possibility that your mate may do something. When I got married to my wife, Cinderella, I never go around telling nobody my wife won't do this, or my wife, I can't see my wife doing this. And she ain't going around telling nobody, I can't see Tony doing that. The only thing I can hope is that she doesn't do it. And the only thing she could hope is I don't do it. Because I see her as a human. She see me as a human. So I'm not a fool. I'm not going to go around and say what my wife will or won't do. The only thing I could hope that she doesn't do it. You understand? Because guess what? Every man and every woman come into this world bent against God. If no man or no woman can be perfectly faithful to God, how can a man or woman be perfectly faithful to a human? The only thing you can do is hope that it doesn't happen. But my brother and sister, let me tell you this. For those of you that are single and about to get married, don't ever put your mate on a pedestal. Don't never put your mate on a pedestal. What you could do, you could say good things about your mate. The pedestal belong only to Jesus. You see, if you put Jesus first, if something happened in your relationship, you will not want to go hang yourself. You will not want to go shoot yourself. You will not want to OD on stuff. You know what I mean? You would not want to walk across the street when a Mack truck comes. You would not want to go on a railroad track and stand in front of the train and think the train gonna stop like that. You understand? You don't want to put yourself in that position. You want to put yourself in that position is God here, his son Jesus, and my mate right here. God is perfect. My mate is not perfect. I know God will not hurt me. My mate may hurt me. I hope that he or she doesn't, but I know God will not. And let me tell you something, you brother and sister. You can never say what you will not do. You understand that? Don't ever say, brother, and don't ever say, sister, what you will or won't do. Let me give you a case. Remember at the Last Supper, Peter told Jesus that he got his back. You all remember that? When Peter told Jesus, I got your back. I'm paraphrasing. What did Jesus say? You going to deny me 3 times. You see, at that time, Peter could not see him denying Jesus, because him and Jesus supposed to be like this, right? But Jesus said, before the cock crow, you're going to deny me 3 times. Peter said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm down with you, Jesus. And Peter probably held his fist up to get the fist pump from Jesus. And Jesus probably said, watch and see. A few hours later, they caught Jesus, and Peter was falling in the shadows, right? A little girl say, you were with Jesus. Peter said, no, I wasn't. I wasn't with him. And then a lady came, then a lady said something. You were with Jesus, because you were with him. I wasn't with him. And then a group of people said, yes, you were. Listen to your dialect. And Peter started cussing. I wasn't with him. I wasn't with him. And then the rooster crowed. And when the rooster crowed, you know what Jesus did? Jesus would listen to all these trumped up charges on him at the court. You know what Jesus did? Jesus stopped looking at Pilate and he looked right at Peter. When Jesus looked at Peter, he didn't have to say nothing. Jesus just looked in Peter's eyes. He just looked in Peter's eyes. And you know, when he looked in Peter's eyes, you know what came to Peter's mind? That Jesus said, you were going to deny me 3 times. And the Bible say that Peter went away. He wept bitterly. Peter said what he would not do. But look, he let Jesus down. But Jesus forgave him. You understand? That's right, Sister Teresa. Jesus forgave him. And that's right, Sister Parker. God tell us anyway, don't put our trust in man. Man will fail you. Amen. That's my point, Sister Parker. No man, even in Micah 7:5. Listen to this. Micah 7:5. It says, do not put your trust in your best friend. Hello. It said, don't put your trust in your best friend. Hello. Don't put your trust in your best friend. Hello. It also said, do not trust her that lieth in your bosom. Hello. Do not trust her that lieth in your bosom. Hello. Do not trust her that lieth in your bosom. You know how some of you guys like to run your mouth with your wife's head on your shoulder, on your chest. The Bible said, don't do it. And that's in reverse. Don't trust your husband 100%, sisters. Brother, don't trust your wife 100%. Don't trust your boss 100%. Don't trust your brother 100%. Don't trust your sister 100%. Don't trust your mama 100%. Don't trust your daddy 100%. Don't trust your children 100%. Don't trust no one but Jesus Christ. And as Pokey P would say, that's all, folks. Brother and sister, I hope that you got something out of this tonight, out of this meal. I hope that you really, really did. You had an opportunity to call in, okay? Right now. How you doing, Sister Brenda? If I got a phone number now for you all, okay? If you decide to call in, you can call in. But if you ever decide to call in, don't be talking for the whole period of the show, because other people may want to talk, okay? But when you call, make sure you are respectable to the family, okay? If you're not respectable to the family, I'm going to hang up the phone. I'm letting you know now. If you call in and you're not respectable, I'm going to hang up the phone. GB said the man that's going to marry me is godly. He said that what's between a woman's ear is more desirable than what's between her knee. Amen. Amen. One of the worst things a man could get is a woman that look real good and she real fine, but it's something missing up here. And the same thing, one of the worst things a woman could get is a man that got money and all that kind of stuff, but it's something missing up here. You know what missing up here, my brother? You know what missing up here, my sister? Jesus Christ. Along with common sense. Along with common sense. Brothers and sisters, I hope that you enjoyed this talk tonight at the dinner table. I hope that you enjoyed it. Guess what? Your brother told me to love you. Brothers and sisters, your brother told me to love you. Okay? I don't want you all to hurt yourselves. I have walked the valley for some of you. That's why I share some of my life experience to some of you. Also, I share other people's experience for some of you. I'm not going to get nobody's name, but I tell you some stuff, some true stuff, okay? Brother and sister, I'm not perfect. Okay, I'm not perfect. I never was perfect. But one day I will be perfect when Jesus comes. But as of right now, I'm not perfect. As of right now, I was out there in the world. As of right now, I'm saved by Jesus Christ. As of right now, will I fall? Yep. Yep, I will fall. I'm not going to try to fall. Some of you say, how you going to fall, Tony? I don't know. I'm busy talking to you all right now. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I hope to not do it. How you doing, Sister Jenkins? I know better than you, brothers. I know better than you, sisters. Always remember that. I'm not better than you all. That's why I can't talk. I'm not up here talking down to you all. I'm talking straight to you all right now because I had a sinful past and I had a capacity to sin. Some of you saying, what type of sin you got, Tony? That between me and God. Because the Bible say if a man say that he has no sin, the truth ain't in him. But if you sin, we have an advocate with the Father, which is Jesus. So with the Lord, I serve. With my mind, I serve the Lord. With the body, the law of sin. Paul said, a lot of things that I would like to do, I don't do it. A lot of things that I don't want to do, I do it. It is not me, but it's the sin that is in me. You see, my brother and sister, you got to understand this. Even though Christ have saved you, listen carefully. Even though Christ have saved you, you still battling the flesh and the spirit. You understand? The Spirit of God, what it does is help you control those impulses of the flesh. For example, if you used to like to smoke, you still might every now and then want to smoke, but you don't do it. Some of you may used to like to drink, but Christ saved you. You got the Spirit of the Lord, but still your flesh may sometimes yearn for that drink. Some of you that used to fornicate, Christ's Spirit is in you, but you still may have a tendency that you might want to go fornicate. Some of you that used to lie, you may have a tendency, you got the Spirit of God in you, even though you want to lie when somebody asks you a question. You may have a tendency, but you don't have to do it. Some of you that used to steal, the Spirit of God is in you. You may have an impulse to steal that Snicker bar, but God's Spirit control you. Some of you that used to do all kinds of things against God's will. The Spirit of God, it guides you. See, that's what the Bible means by you follow the Spirit, not the flesh. You understand? What Jesus said, the Spirit is willing, but the flesh is what? Weak. So, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. Sister Parker said, facts. I did have an awesome time. Send love to Cinderella. Okay, I'll tell Cinderella that you said, hello, Sister Parker. But anyway, let me tell you this, my brother and sister. Always remember, if the Spirit of God is in you, he can guide you. He can help you whatever problems you have in your life. Because let me tell you something, brother and sister, I'm being real. If you saved by the Lord, you're still going to have sinful tendencies. Sometime you're going to fall. I hope that you don't fall, but sometime you may. So if you fall, we have an advocate with the Father, with you, Jesus. You understand? I'm not saying go sin, because if you sin, you're going to get spanked. You sow to the flesh, you reap. Because God does not take the law. God will forgive you, brother and sister, for whatever you do, but he's not going to take away the consequence. That's what a lot of brothers, we brothers and sisters don't realize. Some of us think when we do something wrong and we go tell God, I'm sorry for doing this, God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I won't do it no more. What we trying to do, we're trying to outsmart God. We're trying to outsmart God. God know what we're doing. We're trying to outsmart him because we don't want to get those repercussions. But God said, okay, I forgive you. But you still going to get that spanking. My mother and father, they loved me. My father and mother, they loved me. I'm talking about Johnny and Barbara Toomer. Let me tell you about Johnny and Barbara Toomer before I get out of here. My mama and father, they loved me. I remember my father, my father gave me 3 memorable whippings. 3 memorable whippings. My daddy, he would tell my dad, this is how my daddy used to whip me. He would have me to come and stand between his legs. He would lock his ankles around the lower part of my leg. He would take my trousers down, and I would bend over his left knee. And when I bent over his left knee, he had the belt right here. And he had this hand, the cushion hand, to block my arm for blocking those legs. So when my dad had locked down on my leg and I was bent over his leg and it was nothing but butt, and he went down, bam, bam, bam. I couldn't do nothing. I was trying to block those legs, but I couldn't do it. My mama, she used to whip me. My mama used to be very, how shall I say it, interesting in whipping me. My mama used to whip me with different things sometimes. But let me tell you, I didn't grow up crazy. I didn't grow up, I didn't grow up being a criminal, nothing like that. But let me tell you something. My mother and father, they loved me. When they disciplined me because they love me. That's what God does. God disciplines you when he loves you. So sometimes I used to whip my mom and dad that didn't love me that much. You know what I mean? But, but anyway. Oh, by the way, let me all tell you this. Let me tell you all this before I go out of here. Let me tell you all this. One time, I would discipline my oldest son, right? I would discipline him. This what happened. He about 49, I think. Yeah, I think about 40. But anyway, I would discipline my son. I went in the room. When I used to discipline my children, I did not discipline them in front of their other brothers and stuff. I didn't do that. I would take them in a room separate, right? So my oldest son, this is what happened, brother and sister. I took my oldest son in the room, right? And I was about to discipline him. I disciplined him, right? I was on like the second or third lick. So when I was on the second or third lick, my son said, Daddy, I got to tell you something. I got to ask you something. I said, what you want to say? He said, Daddy, please tell me. I said, please tell you what? And I had that belt. I said, please tell you what? And he said, tell me, Daddy, tell me, have you ever in your life did anything wrong? Just tell me, Daddy, have you ever in your life did anything wrong? You know what I did, brother and sister? I dropped the belt and walked out the room. And that's it for tonight's show. That's it for the night show, my brother and sister. Go ahead and get you some of this extra food, brother and sister, and take it with you. I will clean up the kitchen, okay? I will clean up the kitchen. I love you. Peace out.